What's up, Night Hide? So this cycle we've been discussing book-to-film adaptations, translating the story from the page to the screen, and I want to take the diplomatic approach, as is my case. Firstly, I want to refer you to the Playwright's Guidebook. This is a fantastic book by Stuart Spencer. I read it in college for a class, and if you are any sort of storyteller, you definitely should read this book. It's very enlightening. And in the introduction, he talks about how we tell stories, and he puts stories on this spectrum from film all the way over to prose, with theater somewhere in the middle. And I really like a lot of his concepts in this chapter, and a lot of what I'm talking about is taken from this book, so for more information, Spencer, in his book, describes prose as contemplative and analytical, and that's definitely very true. You can take 2 pages to discuss whether or not a doornail is dead, which, by the way, is 2 of my favorite pages in all of literature. And you can pack so much information into one glance. You can talk about how the person who is glancing feels and what they're thinking, and who the person on the receiving end of the glance, what they're thinking and feeling when they see it. And we know scientifically that with the written word, your brain is more engaged. On the other end of the spectrum, you have film, which Spencer describes as immediate and visceral. You know, film is a very visual medium. Sid Field describes in his book film as a story told with pictures. And that is true. Even though there's dialogue in film, we get so much information from body language, but also with film, you can be very specific about what we see. We can zoom in on a person's eye, for instance. And film is also a pretty passive medium. Scientifically, we know that your brain is not doing a lot when you're watching a film. You're basically soaking in these images. And all of that is why I try to go into a film that was based on a book that I've read with as open a mind as possible, because they are 2 different mediums, and there are things that you can do on the screen that you can't do on the page, and vice versa, and you can't expect a story to be exactly the same as you read it, because it's a completely different medium. And as long as the ethereal story remains intact, I will be satisfied. Of course, this is not to say that you can't have a bad adaptation. Secret of Nim. So yeah, that's my 2 cents for what it's worth. Thanks again to Songtruzo7 for suggesting this topic. Which brings me to my question for all of you. Is there anything that we haven't yet covered, or that we have covered you'd like us to rehash? Leave your topic ideas in the comments. Maybe we'll use them in an upcoming cycle and give you a shout out, because who doesn't love a good shout out? My nerdy pleasure this week is that some friends of mine went to England, and they actually brought back for me some English tea, some legit tea from England, and I'm drinking my first cup ever right here, and it's really not that bad. I mean, I like tea, so, you know, although I made it in the microwave, so I may have just completely went American and killed it. Somebody needs to show me how to make actual British tea. So yeah, there you go, and Danny, we'll see you on Monday. Oh, and by the way, Nick, I like the way that you tried to wile your way into my diplomatic and forgiving graces with your nudity and excuses, but you can't rob me of my first ever opportunity to punish someone, so I will please have a 4-minute, 1-take walk and talk without the use of the words and, or so. Thanks!